Friends, patriots, Americans. Today we delve into a decision that shook the world. Remember when President Trump pulled the United States out of the World Health Organization? It was a move that left many in shock and disbelief. The liberal media went crazy. Headlines screamed, pundits debated, and the airwaves were filled with outrage. They called him reckless, irresponsible, even dangerous. Critics were quick to label his actions as a threat to global health. But were they right? Or was President Trump, as always, one step ahead, seeing what others refused to see? Was there a method to what many perceived as madness? The mainstream media would have you believe the WHO is some kind of saintly organization, a beacon of hope for the world's sick and suffering. They paint a picture of an entity dedicated solely to the betterment of humanity. They want you to think it's all about saving lives, no matter the cost. The narrative is clear. The WHO is the guardian of global health. But is that the truth? Is the reality as pure and noble as they want us to believe? Or is there something more sinister lurking beneath the surface? Could there be hidden agendas and undisclosed motives? President Trump knew the truth. He saw beyond the facade and recognized the complexities that others ignored. He knew the WHO wasn't what it seemed. Behind closed doors, there were secrets, decisions, and actions that the public was unaware of. And he was brave enough to stand up and say it. Despite the backlash, he chose to act on his convictions. But to understand the real story, we need to dig deeper. We need to look beyond the headlines and the surface-level narratives. We need to follow the money. Only then can we uncover the true motivations and the real story behind Trump's bold move. Dr. Asim Malhotra, a renowned cardiologist and outspoken critic of Big Pharma, has been sounding the alarm about the WHO for years. He's not afraid to speak truth to power, even when it ruffles feathers. And what he has to say about the WHO should send chills down your spine. Dr. Malhotra warns us that the WHO is increasingly reliant on funding from private entities with deep power agendas. These aren't just any entities, folks. We're talking about Big Pharma, the very companies that profit from our illnesses. Now ask yourself, is this a conflict of interest? When the organization tasked with protecting our health is beholden to the very industries that benefit from our sickness, something is deeply wrong. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, or rather, the billionaire in the boardroom, Bill Gates. The Gates Foundation, the philanthropic behemoth funded by the Microsoft mogul, is one of the WHO's biggest donors. And while their generosity is commendable, their influence is undeniable. The Gates Foundation, with its focus on vaccines and pharmaceutical interventions, has played a significant role in shaping the WHO's global health agenda. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with vaccines. But when one entity wields so much influence over an organization like the WHO, we have to ask questions. Is the WHO truly serving the best interests of global health, or is it simply following the dictates of its biggest donors? The WHO wasn't always reliant on the generosity of billionaires and corporations. In the beginning, it was funded primarily by its member states, ensuring a level of independence and accountability. But over the years, things have changed. Today, the WHO is increasingly reliant on voluntary contributions, often earmarked for specific programs or initiatives. This means donors, not member states, have the final say in how their money is spent. This shift in funding has had a profound impact on the WHO's priorities. With less money coming from member states, the organization has become increasingly beholden to its private donors. And as we've seen, these donors often have their own agendas. Section 5. Big Pharma's shadow, conflicts of interest at the WHO. The pharmaceutical industry, with its vast profits and powerful lobbyists, casts a long shadow over the WHO. These companies are in the business of selling drugs, not necessarily promoting health. And when their interests align with the WHO's agenda, it raises serious concerns. Imagine a world where the WHO, influenced by Big Pharma's money, prioritizes expensive pharmaceutical interventions over cheaper, more effective preventative measures. Imagine a world where the WHO, beholden to its corporate donors, turns a blind eye to the potential side effects of new drugs. This isn't just a dystopian fantasy, folks, it's a very real possibility. When profits trump people, we're all at risk. Section 6. Whose agenda is it anyway? The WHO's loss of autonomy. The WHO was created to be an independent voice for global health, free from the influence of political and corporate interests. But as we've seen, that independence has been eroded over time. The increasing reliance on voluntary contributions, particularly from private entities like the Gates Foundation and Big Pharma, has compromised the WHO's ability to set its own agenda. The organization is now beholden to its donors, who often have their own priorities and interests. This loss of autonomy has serious implications for global health. It raises questions about the HU's ability to make impartial decisions, to challenge powerful interests, and to truly serve the needs of the world's most vulnerable populations. Section 7. When money talks, health suffers. Examples of donor influence. The influence of donors on the WHO's agenda is not just theoretical, it's a matter of public record. Take, for example, the WHO's focus on promoting expensive patented drugs for diseases like HIV/AIDS, even when cheaper generic alternatives were available. This focus on patented drugs, heavily promoted by Big Pharma, came at the expense of investing in preventative measures and strengthening healthcare systems in developing countries. This is just one example of how donor influence can distort the WHO's priorities, often to the detriment of global health. Section 8. Trump's WHO exit, a stand for American interests and global health. President Trump's decision to withdraw from the WHO was a bold move, one that sent shockwaves around the world. This unprecedented action was met with a mixture of surprise, confusion, and intense debate. The ramifications of this decision were felt not just in the United States, but across the globe, as nations grappled with the potential consequences of such a significant shift in international health policy. The liberal media, predictably, went into meltdown. Newsrooms buzzed with activity as anchors and commentators scrambled to make sense of the announcement. Headlines screamed of chaos and irresponsibility, painting a picture of a world thrown into disarray by Trump's bold move. But was it the reckless act they claimed it to be? Critics were quick to label the decision as hasty and ill-considered, but supporters argued that it was a necessary and strategic move. The debate raged on, with both sides presenting compelling arguments. Or was it a necessary step to protect American interests and promote true global health? The question lingered in the air, prompting deep reflection on the role of international organizations and the responsibilities of sovereign nations. President Trump recognized that the WHO, compromised by conflicts of interest and beholden to its donors, was no longer serving the best interests of the United States or the world. He saw an organization that had strayed from its mission, entangled in bureaucracy and influenced by powerful entities with their own agendas. He understood that true global health requires an independent and accountable WHO, one free from the undue influence of Big Pharma and billionaire philanthropists. The integrity of global health initiatives, he believed, depended on an organization that could operate without bias or external pressure. His decision to withdraw funding was a shot across the bow, a wake-up call to the WHO and the world. It was a bold statement, signaling that the United States would no longer support an organization that failed to uphold its principles and responsibilities. It was a message that the United States would no longer tolerate an organization that prioritizes profits over people, that serves the interests of its donors over the needs of the world's most vulnerable. This move was intended to spark a conversation about the future of global health governance and the need for reform within international institutions. The decision also highlighted the importance of national sovereignty in global health matters. By stepping away from the WHO, the United States aimed to reclaim control over its health policies and ensure that its contributions were used effectively and ethically. In the end, Trump's exit from the WHO was more than just a political maneuver. It was a call to action, a call for transparency, accountability, and a renewed focus on the true mission of global health, to protect and improve the lives of all people, regardless of borders or politics. As the world continues to navigate the complexities of global health, the impact of this decision will be felt for years to come. It serves as a reminder that the pursuit of health and well-being is a shared responsibility, one that requires unwavering commitment and collaboration from all nations. Section 9. The road ahead. Reforming the WHO for a healthier future. The World Health Organization, or WHO, plays a vital role in global health. It is the leading authority in international public health, guiding nations through health crises and setting standards for health practices worldwide. From coordinating responses to pandemics to promoting research and development, the organization has the potential to make a real difference in the lives of millions. Its efforts in combating diseases, improving health systems, and advocating for health equity are indispensable. But to truly fulfill its mission, the WHO must undergo significant reforms. These reforms are essential to enhance its efficiency, transparency, and accountability. Reform starts with addressing the critical issue of funding. The current funding model, which relies heavily on voluntary contributions, is neither sustainable nor transparent. The WHO needs a more sustainable and transparent funding model, one that ensures consistent and reliable financial support. This would enable the organization to plan and execute long-term health initiatives without the constant worry of financial instability. A reformed funding model should reduce the WHO's reliance on voluntary contributions and increase its financial independence. This would also help in ensuring greater accountability to its member states. Ensuring greater accountability means that member states can trust that their contributions are being used effectively and efficiently. Furthermore, the WHO must address the issue of conflicts of interest. This is crucial for maintaining the integrity and credibility of the organization. This means implementing stricter guidelines on donations from private entities. By doing so, the WHO can avoid potential conflicts that may arise from accepting funds with strings attached. Increasing transparency around its decision-making processes is also vital. This includes making information about its operations, funding, and decision-making criteria readily available to the public. Only through comprehensive reform can the WHO regain the trust of the international community. Trust is the cornerstone of effective global health governance. By implementing these reforms, the WHO can better fulfill its mandate to promote global health for all. A reformed WHO is not just a necessity, it is a promise for a healthier future for